Hello, everyone. Sangat, astrologer. I'm here again to talk about the June 21st or 22nd eclipse, June 21st eclipse, 2020. Just to let you know, I have published an unlisted video available by donation about the three summer or winter eclipses if you are in the southern hemisphere. I already talked extensively, a 3-hour video about this eclipse season. And as I said, it is available either by donation or just if you are able to help me in any other way, like referring me to clients or to people interested, or sharing my posts, publications, either in my blog or my social media. I am transitioning to MeWe and Tumblr from Facebook. I have been in Facebook for a long time, and now I am moving to other platforms. I am also on Instagram, but it has a limited space there, so that's why I'm changing. What else? Okay, so today we are about to enter the last quarter square of this moon cycle that is started on May 22nd with a new moon in Gemini, if you remember. So this cycle culminated or had the full expression of it in with the June 5th eclipse, which was a full moon or lunar eclipse at 15 Sagittarius. I also published a video about that lunar eclipse. You can search in my channel to see, but it's interesting to look at astrology as cycles within cycles. So go back to the new moon in Gemini video and listen to that, then to the full moon in Sagittarius. And now we are today and during this weekend, this difficult upcoming weekend, it is the crisis in consciousness, according to Dane Rudier, who studied and wrote a book about the moon phases. So every time cycle goes to the third quarter square, which is the culminating square, 270 degrees from the starting point, there is a process of integration of the energy and the theme that it was started, in this case, on May 22nd. So all the events that have happened since then are coming to a point where we are in a position of integrating the energy, understanding, and having to incorporate those changes in our lives. So this is why I'm taking advantage of this kind of energy to explain what is coming now with the June 21st solar eclipse at 0 degree Cancer. And for that, I will share my screen and explain a few things that are very interesting. But as I said, I refer you to contact me, please, by email or private message, so I can send you the link to the extensive 3-hour webinar on the 3 eclipses. I can send you that link, and don't worry if you are not able to donate. You can always help me in other ways. So don't hesitate if you're interested in my perspective of the astrology, don't hesitate to contact me and request that. So now I will share my screen and show you and explain some things that will happen this time. Okay, so June 21st, 2020 eclipse, it's going to be the struggle of rebirth. So, and why I say this, I will explain it soon enough. So here in this slide, you find my the way you can follow me and also contact me. So I am in YouTube. I have 2 channels, one for yoga and one for astrology. I have also a blog where I write. I haven't been writing lately. I only have time to make these videos. I am busy. So, but you can always read me every day in my Tumblr, MeWe, and so far, Facebook, I am transitioning out, but I am also on Instagram. So please contact me, as I said, and follow me. So for this video, I will explain about how the eclipses are part of families of eclipses that last sometimes for thousands of years. And these families are called Saros, S-A-R-O-S. And the Saros are defined by a certain kind of eclipse. And this is astronomically defined. These Saros families of eclipses are available by NASA website. I will show you the link, or probably put the link to the NASA website for the Saros families of eclipses in the description below, and you can access them that way. So there is usually, as I said, a list of eclipses for thousands of years, and the June 5th eclipse belongs to the Saros family, number 111. And the first eclipse in that family occurred on June 5th, 830. So as I researched and investigated the history, which usually the history will explain what kind of events this eclipse is related to or correlates to. And history records that that month, in the month of June, the Byzantine Emperor Theophilus married an Armenian noblewoman. And apparently this consolidated the Byzantine Empire, paving the way to start the war against the Muslim world in the East. So this is triggering, this eclipse was a triggering point of the separation or antagonism between the West and the East. And this is important to keep in the back of your mind for the following eclipses. And we can see this antagonism reflected nowadays. And it's not only between East and West, which we have heard of, for example, Western governments accusing China, for example, of starting this health crisis. And It doesn't mean that this is a real thing, but that is the sentiment of this antagonism. And we see this repeated again. The June 21st eclipse belongs to the Saros family, number 137. And as I said, the first eclipse in the series is the definer or the initiator of a certain kind of energy, a certain kind of developments or events. And again, history tells us that on June, in fact, June 15th of Julian calendar, 1389, a battle fought at Kosovo, and the Turkish forces of the Ottoman Sultan Murad I, that left both leaders killed and ended in a Turkish victory. The collapse of Serbia and the complete encirclement of the crumbling Byzantine Empire by the Turkish armies at that time. That was the Muslims, Eastern world defeating the Western world. So we see again the same thing repeating again and again. And so I'm telling you this because there is this subjacent energy that is driving the forces for this eclipse families. And it's not only the antagonism of West and East, but it's also, excuse me, it's also this separation and division of the world into two bands, two groups of people opposing and clashing against each other. We see this in the present situation in the United States, where there are opposing forces between called racial, right? White and black. So this is family of eclipses that is showing this divisive energy that is subjacent to anything that is going on in the planet. Now, the July 5th eclipse belongs to the Saros family 149. And this is a more recent family of eclipses that is started in June 13, 1984. If you remember the 80s, it was the decade when AIDS appeared in the world, and relationships started having this effect of having to deal with this new sexually transmitted disease. So families and also relationships were deeply affected. So other events that were ongoing at this time was the ongoing Cold War, right? The East against the West. And also the ongoing Iran-Iraq war. But other interesting events were that Nynex Corporation started the cell phone communications. That was the very start of the cell phone era. Also, another thing that is very interesting is that there was a small earthquake in Japan that triggered a disproportionate tsunami. So these forces are apparently small, but they have rippling effects that are very extensive. So this year was it was seen also the end of the military governments in Latin America. It was the start of democracy back again in Latin America, because many governments were military juntas up until that time, starting in the 50s, around 50s, 60s. In fact, during the whole Cold War era, there were military governments in Latin America, because that was part of the division of the world in Eastern and Western forces. So also, other very interesting things is that Dr. Robert Gallo found retrovirus to be the cause of the AIDS. So on this regard, we may expect that there could be some finding related to COVID-19, either causes, effects, behavior of the virus, or something related to the remedies, vaccination, or something related to the COVID-19 virus, reflecting that kind of energy from the 1984. And it was also a time where there were privatizations of public services, institutions, and privatizations of business and corporations that were buying national companies, right? So, and that also was the cause of deregulation of the stock market. So all those events were defined and started in this Saros family of eclipses 149 that started in June 1984. And so that will relate more to the July 5th, 2020 solar eclipse, lunar eclipse. Sorry, because it's a lunar eclipse in Capricorn. So, but now I will focus on the solar eclipse on the solstice. And the solstice is June 21st, 2020. And this solar eclipse happens at 0 degree Cancer, and it coincides with the winter solstice. It's just a few hours later than the solstice. And is the summer or winter solstice, depending on if you are in the northern or southern hemisphere, but it is similarly, it's the point of change of the season. It is, the sun has gone to a certain point, and it can go no more farther. The days are longer, as long as they get in the northern hemisphere, and as short as they get in the southern hemisphere. And from then, there is a change. So the sun is coming back south, so moving the other way, right, from the Earth's perspective. So it is the point of change. The solstice is the point of change. It is also the world point. 0 degree of any cardinal sign, it is the world point, because it is the change of the seasons. In Cancer is the summer, right? So then Rudier describes this degree, which is considered the first degree in Cancer. And always the first degree as I said, it is this radical change. So the description is: on a ship, the sailors lower an old flag and raise a new one. So as you see, it's very obvious how the change it is implemented. Let me read some more on that. I have it here in my notes. Yes, so it is indicating a radical time of change, and it is the degree of the solstice. And it's the 0 degree of any cardinal sign or any sign for that matter is the most powerful signification of that sign. So there is an intense concentration of the meaning of that sign. And in the case of Cancer, it is an intense concentration of the themes of safety, nurturance, increase of value of home, including the value of the physical, house, but also an increase of the value of home and family, and the family's connections. So understanding our emotional vulnerability as human beings and the need to have a society that contemplates that and provides the adequate support to sustain life in general and the survival of the human species. So what happens is that this is together with the full moon in Capricorn that is coming up in July. These two is the last pair of eclipses in the Cancer-Capricorn axis that we have experienced for the last couple of years, with the nodal axis in those signs, the north node of the moon in Cancer and the south node of the moon in Capricorn. And the nodes are basic for the, are required for the eclipses to happen, because the moon, the earth, and the sun need to be aligned with the nodal axis in order for an eclipse to happen. So it is the final completion of the implied lesson on adulting, becoming a mature collective inside and out. How? Because we have been confronted with death. Our very life has been threatened. We have this nodal axis and eclipse axis, Cancer, Capricorn, directly square to Chiron in Aries. And Chiron in Aries is the wound of our very existence as a human species, our identity, the rejection and abandonment as a human being. So if you like to learn more about Chiron in Aries and you're not familiar with Chiron, you can always visit my blog. You have in the first, at the beginning of this video, you have the link, and you can read more about Chiron in Aries and how it affects you personally according to your rising sign. So, okay, so we see with this eclipse a repetition of the themes, right? Because we see, let me go back, we see also it is reminiscent of the June 21st, 2001 solar eclipse at 0 Cancer. It was precedent to the 9/11 attack on the Twin Towers. So the theme is very similar. We are searching very eagerly for safety and security against an invisible dominant power. And as I said, there are two things that are invisible at this time. As I said at the beginning, talking about Saros, there is this polarity, this divisive energy in the whole world that is opposing different groups of people, right? And there is also the invisible power of a virus that is attacking the whole population of the world. So any invisible threat that puts our life at risk. And there could be more invisible enemies that we don't see right now, because we have in Pisces, we have Neptune together with Mars. And that is a signature, a significator of invisible enemies. And we don't know where they come from. We don't know where they will appear. And we don't know how they will manifest. But it's a latent, powerful enmity that is invisible to the people. And so I don't know what that could be. It could be natural forces. It could be, since it is Pisces, it could be a collective force. We don't know. And many people, many astrologers even will tell you that they don't really know. But soon enough, we'll find out, especially this weekend when Mars conjoins Neptune exactly. So that's the reason why I'm saying this is going to be a very dangerous weekend. If you are out and about, if you are protesting, be aware that there is danger there, that there is danger for your life. So I'm not encouraging any kind of violence. I'm a peaceful person, and I like peace, and I promote peace. But at the same time, I recognize that there is a need to have our voices heard. However, be aware that there is a certain danger that you cannot see. Neptune, Mars in Pisces, you cannot see, and it could come from anywhere. So, we see the repetition of the same theme of 9/11, where that danger came out of nowhere without any consciousness of what was happening behind the scenes. This could also be reminiscent of the same eclipse occurring June 21st, 1982. So if you have memory of your life in 1982, you might also relate to those memories. Let me explain about an eclipse on the north node of the moon, because this is a total solar eclipse, and it is right less than 1 degree apart from the north node. So north node eclipses provide an inflow of energy. It is a start point, a seed planted of something. The energy of an eclipse on the north node is compared to the Jupiter or Uranus dynamics, you know, where there is expansion, there is radical change, sudden events, and it's considered luckier, more auspicious. So there is a start point of something that in the end will be positive, or perceived as positive. So the results appear outwardly, tangibly. It is something that you can see physically, and it could be a newfound power and strength, especially in your personal life. They are experienced, perceived as positive and easy. It depends, because sometimes they come with poison, as we have seen in 2001. It is an expansive, unexpected blessings or surprises, and it sends the person off to from the comfort zone. So you are moved out of the comfort zone. Solar eclipse on the North Node demands embracing change and courage to allow this inflow of a new energy. So it is a challenging one, but it can put you upside down, you know. And eclipses, events or situations, circumstances and surprises are not comfortable at all. So this eclipse we have, and I extensively describe these aspects, this planetary relationships in my 3-hour webinar that I encourage you to contact me to get the link for. I am not going to describe them all in this video, because I already did before. I'm going to touch on a few things only. And here is the chart again. One of the considerations is that Mercury is here at 14 degrees 25 minutes of Cancer in its retrograde. So Mercury retrograde have us revisit our previous thoughts and concepts about the Cancer themes, right? The emotional life, how we, what do we think about our family, our need for comfort and protection. So Mercury in Cancer trine Ceres in Pisces, and Ceres is here, 12 degrees of Pisces. And Ceres correlates to nurturance, to the need to have food in the table and to protect the resources of the earth. Remember, Ceres was from that name Ceres comes the name of cereals, right? The abundance of food, and how the cereal has been a staple food for centuries for humanity. So in the ancient Greek times, mythology, Ceres was Demetra, the Mother Earth. So reviving the need to provide a broader scope of nurturance and also healthcare, right? In this situation where we have Mercury in Cancer, the lungs affected, right? Especially by inflammation and water in the inflammation, right? Cancer is a cardinal sign, and in the lungs. So it's also, this eclipse is also a completion 6 months cycle from the solar eclipse that happened at 5 degrees of Capricorn on December 26, 2019. And if you remember, in between that solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse in Cancer that happened at 20 degrees, there was the assassination of the Iranian government official Soleimani, and also the retaliation. So there is a seed of violence here. There is a seed of violence and antagonism between the East and the West, and the West and the East. So that is also a cycle that has a completion with this eclipse in Cancer, solar eclipse in Cancer, and it may start a new cycle. So, but it's at the same time a completion of the old one. So that solar eclipse at 5 degrees Cancer or 4, depending, started a new social, political, economical structures in the world order and government institutions, the social contract, and the need to grow up and become adults and take responsibilities for our actions. And we have seen this in the news lately, how this uproar and this cry for justice from the Black community had triggered the reaction of even private corporations and private sectors to change, right? To change their own ways and restructure their basic foundation in order to accommodate the requirements of this new society, where we need to integrate all sectors of society and become unified and working together. So it's this solar eclipse in Capricorn in December also was the starting point of disempowerment of the old system. Remember, Pluto is there, demolishing everything that is decayed, that is obsolete, that is rotten or corrupt. And Saturn comes back and restructures the system. It's more serious, more with more integrity, with more maturity, right? We are coming from teenagers into real adults, taking responsibility for our actions from the past, right? Remember, all this energy in Capricorn has been touching the South Node, the South planetary nodes of Pluto and Saturn, meaning that we are reviving karma and conditioning from centuries and thousands of years of structures and things that are completely rotten, and they're not functional anymore, including the feudal system, right, that we are living in today still. This pyramidal societal structure where the one at the top of the pyramid is stepping on all the others at the bottom. This hierarchical society that promotes the enrichment and the empowerment of just a few in detriment of the survival of the majority. So this has been crumbling down. Why? Because this energy of the conjunction between Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in Pallas Athena has happened with the south planetary nodes of Saturn and Pluto. So that's very important. I describe this in detail in my 3-hour webinar. So with the, there is also the solar eclipse 021 Cancer is exactly in conjunct, a 150-degree relationship angle with Saturn in Aquarius. And this is the last point that I will make in this video that is taking kind of long. So this shows a need to make adjustments and build a new social order that is horizontally structured as opposed to the pyramid. There has been a cry for compromises among different sections of society, striving to survive. And as a collective, people are reacting positively, revising past behavior, reconsidering the impact of the frustration and defiance originated in the lack of balance, seeing the need for negotiation, taking measures to rebalance and modify behaviors. So if you've seen in the news the few last days, there are private sectors have been making moves in that direction, because they have been put between the sword and a hard place, right? Society can make progress through the transmutation, Pluto, of the social, economical, and political structures, Saturn. So remember, this period is probably not a period where we will see a lot of initiations, even though they are happening, but it is a period that favors the review, the reconsideration, the rebalancing in our ideas. We're thinking about how can we find balance in this polarity that we are living with. It's not just the United States. We see this polarity, separation, division in the whole world. Factions and sectors of society are fighting against each other because there is this imbalance of give and take. So this is translating to the Aries Libra, right, polarity of love and war, right, where we need to find the middle way, the middle point of a balance, compromises, where a sector gives in some and the other sector gives in to some extent in order to find themselves in the middle. So, but with 6 planets in retrograde, we are still in the process of reconsideration, introspection, reflection. Neptune is the 6th planet that just stations retrograde on June 21st on the solstice. So to finish, see where you have Cancer, 0 Cancer in your chart, and see if it is conjuncting, opposing, or squaring any planets or angular angles in your chart, important points, and that way you can have a hint of how this eclipse will affect your life. If you'd like to have a consultation with me, please contact me. I can do a reading for you about this eclipse and show you how it may affect. We never know exactly what events will happen, but we can explain the kind of energy you will have to face, consider, reflect on, and such. So feel free to contact me, and I wish you the best, and thank you for watching. And again, I encourage you to watch my 3-hour webinar on the 3 eclipses, where I extensively explain all the aspects for each chart. So best wishes now, and I hope to see you later. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. like the video, make comments, and if you feel so inclined, share my videos also in your social media page. Thank you so much.